Rating the top 6 Premier League clubs' transfer business in this window so far. For Arsenal's transfers in, I'm definitely looking at towards an A minus. Brought in a backup keeper, very cheap, very decent. Norgard, backup midfielder, very cheap, very decent. Defender in Mosquera has potential, very decent price. And then there's Madueke at 56 million euros, which I think is definitely an overspend for his quality and how much game time I think he'll get. And Zubamendi, like, yes, they could do with a midfielder, but they really have gone out and spent. I think he will be great, and then Gyökeres I think will be great. So I'm going to give them an A minus in terms of transfers in. Few unnecessary spends there. When you look at who they've sold, Nuno Tavares for a mere 5 million euros, and then just a few people leaving on free transfers. Not great, so I'm going to give them B+. So far, Chelsea have done great in terms of transfers in with Gittins, Pedro and Delap for a combined total of 150 million. I think they've spent well there. Estevao for the future even could play a good bit now, and the investments like Kendry Pies, apparently huge talent, and they could even add to this with Xavi Simons and Hato. And their transfers out have been even better. Madueke for 56 million euros, Petrovic for 28 mil, and Mugu, who they really just didn't bother playing much, 15 million quid. I think overall that brings it to an A so far for Chelsea. Liverpool have gone big and gone bold with the likes of a record-breaking transfer for Wirtz, not too far off that for Ekitike, Kirkes, Frimpong, all at very decent prices for the level of player that they are at. And getting 35 mil for the likes of Kwanzaa, 15 for Kelleher, and 10 for Trent Alexander-Arnold, who had like a month left in his contract. So overall, that is absolutely an A. Moving on to City, who have started to spend big. Reinders in for 55 million euros. I think that's a great price for a great midfielder. 8 Nori, well-needed left-back. Cherky at 36 million euros, the talent he has, and even Naipan one for the future as well. I would like to see them start to bring in some defenders. I think they need some cover back there, but so far I would say that's a B. And they've sold some of their youth talent like Kuto and Perone for a combined 35 mil, so yeah, I'd say a B+. United only brought in the 2 big names so far, Mbuemo and Cunha for 75 mil each. I think they will do well. They are good signings, but it's the Manchester United effect. You never know what's going to happen to them once they come in. And they haven't really sold at all. You know, Rashford out on loan with an option to buy. So it's kind of all in Barca's court for that. I'd say that's a C+ for what they need in the transfer window, to be honest. And then we have Spurs, who's brought in Kudus for 63 million euros whenever he was quoted at 80-90 million last year. In preseason already looks great. Matthias Tell, who looked good towards the back end of last season, for only 35 million euros whenever they were expecting 50 from that initial loan last season, which was an option. Danzo, decent cover, a lot of money for cover. And Vuskovic, I've heard a lot about him. Apparently a great up-and-coming defender. So I'd say that's a B. And they haven't sold much yet, but Højbjerg for 13.5 mil, not too bad. I'd say I'm leaving that as a B.